Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Productions channel here at YouTube, and welcome to another Friday review. Today I am here to review We Don't Rise, We Just Fall, the brand new debut album from German hard rock / heavy metal band Firmament. First released digitally on March 24th, then physically on March 31st via the Dying Victims Productions label. So without further ado, let's begin. Now, before I get into, my thoughts on We Don't Rise, We Just Fall, you know what I have to do. I have to do a track list rundown so I can tell you folks what are the songs that are on this album, how many tracks that are on this album, and what is the time length for this album. Since this album consists a total of 9 tracks, it clocks in at the length of 37 minutes and 53 seconds. So, these 9 tracks are, beginning with, Firmament, The Void, Dreams of Misery, Live in the Night, or it could be Live in the Night. I don't know. It probably means Live in the Night. Losing You, Hide and Seek, On the Edge, No Future, and then finally ending with Last Desire. So there you go, folks. There's your 9 tracks. Oh, I'm never going to get tired of doing that. That is telling you folks that it is time for me to read from my notes. I just do not care at this point. It's now become a weekly routine for the reviews episode. Now, again, it's just a very overpowering way, or a ear-raping way, to tell you that it is note time. Okay, let's definitely speed this up, shall we? Formed back in 2021 by 3 members of the band Tension, not to be confused with the one from Laurel, Maryland / Phoenix, Arizona, that released the classic Breaking Point LP that also used to go under the name of Deuce, with Marty Friedman, who used to be a member of when they were called Deuce. But anyways, it's not that Tension. They released a single on the same year. However, with Tension splitting up back in 2022 after releasing their only full-length album, also an EP as well, I think a year or 2 prior to that, under the Dying Victims label, the members that formed Firmament decided it was best to focus more on Firmament and leave Tension all behind. Thus, here we are with the debut album, We Don't Rise, We Just Fall. Much more melodic than Tension was, being more firmly planted in that late 70s, early 80s metal sound that bands like these days, like Flight from Norway, Witch Hazel, Black Trip / Void, which is VOJD, again, both from Sweden, and at times reminding me of Spell from Canada. From the opening track of the band titled song up to the smoking rocker of Last Desire, this is a neat debut album. Plenty of those twin guitar harmonies that made bands like Thin Lizzy and Wishbone Ash so infectious. Again, those are the 2 bands that really come to mind when I'm actually listening to Firmament here. Again, these elements are more apparent in songs such as Live in the Night and Losing You, which both have a calm aspect to them, but they are not without letting out just that rip-roaring nature, And there are some great rockers on here too, like also The Void, Hide and Seek, and No Future. However, as cool as those tracks are, It's the loose and lethal attacks of both On the Edge and Last Desire that drives this album into pure overdrive, with Last Desire giving me some straight up Merciful Fate vibes, mostly early Merciful Fate vibes, with those Sherman/Denner guitar harmonies, and with Mike Hubers, again the singer of Firmament, his almost giving out a very slight King Diamond-ish vocal performance here on this song. It's an awesome banger, just a badass way to close out the album. So all in all, this is a very good debut album for Firmament here, and it just gives you a great idea of where the creative heads are at, and I can just see them possibly expanding on this style, whatever, on their next couple of albums. Again, this is a fine beginning. So there you go, folks. There's just, again, my short little thoughts and everything about what I feel about, Don't Rise, We Just Fall here from Firmament. And again, I just think that this is a pretty enjoyable debut album. And it's fairly a good rocker. It's very much on the melodic side, reminding me more of a cross between Thin Lizzy and Wishbone Ash, which kind of puts them in the same sort of category as like Witch Hazel and Flight and so on, and just some of those kind of bands that really were these days that really take on that kind of classic sort of very hard and heavy 70s sound that almost kind of a little bit kind of leads a little bit into that sort of early new wave or British heavy metal style. And that's what I kind of get here. And again, it's a very enjoyable album. And my rating for such an enjoyable album here is a 9.25 out of 10. Again, it's a very good album, and I'm just really surprised by some of this. Again, then again, when it comes to this kind of style, it doesn't really take a complete genius to, kind of get this right. But again, it's a very enjoyable album. So for those who probably have actually checked out We Don't Rise, We Just Fall for Firmament, and if you've checked the album out, sorry, birds and everything are kind of distracting me a little bit here, but still, if you're one of those that probably has checked this album out, and if you've listened to it, if you have any thoughts, whether they be positive or negative, you can leave them in the comment section below. But if you haven't checked this album out already, again, I'm going to leave you a link to the Bandcamp pages, whether it be to Firmament's Bandcamp page and, of course, Dying Victims Productions Bandcamp page, where you can listen to this album, buy this album, and, of course, support both the band and the label. So with that, I hope all of you enjoyed. This is Heavy Thrasher saying I'm out, and I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.